We had a pretty bad storm a few nights ago and it knocked down my cucumber trellis completely over. I tried to stand it back up. I even bought anchors, but it just wasn't going to happen. So instead of fighting it, I had to take the trellis apart and lay my vines down on the ground. And as I was doing that, I noticed something. There were vegetables hiding on the top of my trellis that I didn't even know were there. Huge cucumbers, and I had a huge harvest. And it made me think about how much this reminds me of life. Sometimes storms come through and change everything. In fact, that happened to us as a family about 5 years ago. We had straight line winds that came through, and two huge oak trees fell on our house and destroyed a large part of it. But thankfully, everybody was safe and we were all okay. But our home was really badly damaged. And we had to move into hotels and apartments and around for about 9 to 10 months. And I remember what it feels like when something that you didn't plan for suddenly life doesn't look anything like you thought it would. But looking at these vines laying on the ground reminded me of something. We have to stop trying to force things back to the way they were. Trust me, I've been trying this morning to get these things off the ground, and it's hard. And this trellis isn't going back up this season. I've decided to rebuild it closer to the spring when it's not so hot. And when I do, I'm going to make it stronger. But for now, these vines still are growing. And there is still a harvest. I picked a cucumber today. But maybe in a season like right now, maybe something happened that knocked your plans over. Maybe you're looking at your life and thinking, this isn't how it is supposed to be. Trust me, I know I'm there right now. And maybe you're trying desperately to put things back the way they were. But what if God is asking you to just stop for a moment? That's what I had to do this morning, even with just trying to get them off the ground a little bit. What if it isn't building season? What if the season is to rest, to heal, to gather what is grown, and to trust God with what is next? Isaiah 43:19 says, behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I'm not going to tell you that the storm was good because it wasn't. Losing our home for 10 months wasn't good. But the improvements that were made are having my garden knocked down isn't what I wanted either. It made me really sad, but it did open up some new ground for me to plant more flowers. But I've learned that God can bring something good out of what we never would have chosen. The storm didn't have the final word, and this garden isn't finished yet just because of a trellis falling. In fact, I discovered a harvest I didn't even know was there. So if you're walking through a season where everything feels knocked down, don't assume there's no fruit. There may be things God has been growing in you that you can't see yet. You don't have to rebuild everything today. Sometimes you simply gather the harvest, tend to what is still alive, and trust God with the rebuilding. And when the time comes, you can build again. I'm going to with stronger roots, stronger support, deeper understanding of who was with me through the storm. The storm changed the garden, but it didn't end the harvest, and it doesn't have to end yours. Hope grows here. Much love.